Hello guys, thanks for coming back. This is welcome to my life vlog. That scares the shit out of me to do. Sorry, babe.
You're okay, your rib pod's going off a little bit, so they can't see it.
I don't know what. So, let's get back to this, I guess, huh? So I'm gonna start off back at the, I was talking to you guys about the library part, okay? And you know, when I got, when I was in school and stuff, like I said, I had to grow up fast and stuff because I became a father and all that. So I was trying to do the right thing, making sure school was good, all that stuff, and making sure I got good grades, of course, So, yeah, I went to that library to do this project, because, back then we didn't have computers and stuff like that. And, so, I go to the public library, I walk in there, and I stop. Like, you walk right in there, and I don't know how it looks now, but I'm sure it's way different. But you walk right in there, and you kind of walk a little bit of ways, and then there was the lady, the librarian, stuff like that. So I walked in there and I stopped. Didn't even go to the desk, the librarian desk at all. Just stopped there. And I had this sensation, I don't know how to explain to it. The best way to explain to it, it was kind of like a rope around me and somebody was going like this and pulling me. So when that was happening, I mean, not literally happening, but it felt like I was getting pulled by something. It led me right to that book, and I don't know, it was just like I knew it was there, like I was planning to get it, and I had no clue why, and it was way in the back, man. I can't really remember like what alphabets it was in or nothing like that. I don't know, I couldn't tell you all that, so I got this book, and I grabbed it and I sat down on the little benches or the little tables and stuff they have there, and I read like 1 or 2 pages, and then after that it was like a drug, I guess. Oh, is the microphone on, by the way? I should have asked you earlier. Okay. It was kind of like a drug, I guess, maybe, or some kind of a, I don't know how to explain it, but it was like I had to take this book home. I had to, man, and I didn't care how I did it either, So I stole the fucker. Yeah, I took it home. But then, but I did realize after a while it didn't belong to the library. It didn't have their little cards. Like I mentioned before in part 1, usually library books have a little sleeve and a card in there, and they punch the date and write your name and shit like that. And I think it says when you need to bring it back. Shit like that on there, and then it has a stamp. It'll say like Denver County Library or Las Vegas, Nevada Library, something like that. They didn't have any kind of stamp like that at all. Anything. I didn't have shit on there. Actually, the first page was blank, but it was stamped with a little symbol like a notary stamp, I guess you want to say. And it was an upside down pentagram, and kind of weird. But so when I got this book, I realized too, I knew it was old, and the reason why I knew it was old, because of my family, I guess, my background. My mom and dad, they both liked antiques, and I do too. From this day, I love antiques. So does my wife. And so I knew about what old books look like, and old newspapers, things like that. So when I got this book. And I opened it, I knew it was really old because you can smell it like a mildew, I guess. And the papers were almost brown, like I don't know, like a light shit brown. I don't know, but it had this terrible smell to it. And you know what it smelled like? And I was thinking about this morning actually. What it smelled like to me was animal pee. Now that I think about it, have you guys ever went deer hunting or anything like that, and you can smell the animal pee? Oh man, it smells horrible. It smelled like that, like straight up pee. You know, it wasn't a good smell. Actually, to be honest with you, it made my room smell for a while. So I put it in a pillowcase with those laundry sheets. I put it in there until I got caught with it. But so I got this book, you know, and I was reading it every day before school, after school, whenever I could. You know, I never took it to school. Like I said, at the time I was in junior high, and I didn't take it to school. But I started reading this book, and it was, I don't know why. I know it's gonna make some of you guys think different about me, maybe, but trust me, I really don't know why. It was like it was pulling me that way. But I just got so interested in it right away, like right away. And the first couple pages, you know, I read, I was like, wow, what's this about? Is this like about some kind of religion, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I started reading more. And then I started talking about sacrifice. Not like as in we sacrifice our bodies for our Lord Jesus Christ. The opposite Lord. He's not a Lord. He's an angel, actually. Used to be an angel, right?
Yep.
My wife's smart with all that stuff. She's a minister, if you guys didn't know.
He used to be God's right-hand man, and then he got greedy, and
Yes.
my uncle taught me a lot too. But he got really greedy, and God didn't approve of it, and
Put him down.
threw him out of heaven, and that's how...
And see, this is the thing, you know, a lot of people think the devil maybe has horns and is bright red and this ugly thing, you know. But you gotta understand though, he was used to be an angel. You know, so I don't know. I know it sounds like I'm sticking up for him, but what I'm trying to say is because I witnessed things with my own eyes, and I knew this thing was evil, but not like you see on TV. Not like that.
No, he doesn't. He's not red and
No.
horned and
No.
pointy tail.
But there is things that look like that, and I'm going to get into that. But anyways, let's get back to the book. So the book, I was reading about it. It started telling me about how back in the days, how they would please don't let children watch this video, please. This has to do with bad stuff, and I'll make sure we put a warning on this last one, okay, please.
Yes, I did on the first one.
Yeah, because this is... So I started reading the book, and it started to do with sacrificing children. And right away, you know, me being Catholic at the time, I was like, oh wow, this is interesting, what the fuck? I guess, I think to me it was more like a horror story, maybe, a horror book. I used to read a lot back in the day, mostly Stephen King books, and that's because that's all my mom read. But it changed my life, and how I mean it by this is, the deeper I got into this book, things started changing. I started feeling different. I don't know, I guess you want to say kind of not well, you know. I guess I was angry a lot, or so, I don't know, I just wasn't doing well after I got this book. Now, after maybe about a month or so, I had this dream that this beautiful man, okay, and it wasn't Jesus, I don't know how to explain him, just this beautiful man. I'm not gay or nothing, okay, but this guy was just a handsome man. And in my dream, he told me that he was my God, and that he could make me happy, and as long as I followed that book, okay. And so I started to follow it. I started to wear upside down crosses, but I put them underneath my shirt because I didn't want nobody to see it. You know, my family, teachers, I don't know, because you know, this where I was from is a small little shit town. You know, it's either you're white and Christian or you're nobody. That's my opinion. You know, and I ain't white and I'm not just Christian. So in this town, I feel like I'm nobody. But that's my opinion anyway. But so this dream, he was telling me, if you do this, you do that, you'll have all the riches, you'll have all the girls and all the things you want. And like I told you guys in the first video, I wanted friends. I had friends. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had friends, but I wanted a lot. I guess I wanted to be greedy, and I wanted a lot of girlfriends and this and that. So after I had this dream, I really got into that book, and I started. No, I didn't sacrifice nobody, no animals, no dogs, no nothing like that. But I will tell you, I did sacrifice my own blood. In a way of speaking, and I'll get to that in a little bit. That mostly has to do with spells. Some spells can be good. The spells I was doing were not good. So I recognized that after I started, dressing all in black, I completely stopped going to church, and my parents didn't like that at all. Period. It got to where I would actually step into a church, our Catholic church here. Not this one, it was an older one back then. But I'd actually walk into it and I'd break out in rash. And this is after about 6 to 8 months after I had this book, that how much I was reading it. I would get sick to my stomach really bad, and my mom would have to, tell me to, take me home or whatever. And she knew this happened all the time. And so finally they just told me, hey, stay home. And I knew why. I did. My parents, my family didn't know why. It's because I wasn't supposed to be there. And that's terrible to say, man. But we all are supposed to be at church. Jesus Christ's church, not this other stuff that I was involved in. And I started realizing, that things were getting so great for me, wonderful. I'm not gonna lie, this is the honest to God truth, and if my mother was still here, she would tell you it's true. Okay, my father would too, but he's not. We're not gonna even talk about that right now. But anyways, I would have one girl sneak in my room, right, and about an hour or 2 hours later, she would sneak back out. Then I have another one come in. I'm dead serious. At least 3 girls a night. And I'm not saying that I was having sexual activity with all. I can't lie. Okay, most of the time. But not like 3 out, like one after another. I did that before, but only with 2. I was a whore, okay? I was a hoe, I admit it. So I had all these girls coming through all the time, and yes, my parents caught me more than once. I don't know. I don't know how I would feel if that I'm a father, of course, and that pissed me off, to be honest. But anyways, like I said, everything was coming good. I was doing well in school. I was, doing well in wrestling, and it was great. It was great. And the reason why things were going so well for me is, and I'm not gonna say that I sold my soul to the devil, because I didn't. It wasn't like that. It was more like if this evil thing telling me, if you help me, I'll help you. Okay. Did I know at the time it was evil? Yeah. I mean, anything that deals with upside down crosses, to me that's kind of common sense. But I guess I was just stupid. Curious. I don't know. What would you call it, babe? Curious? Stupid? I don't know.
Curiosity.
But I didn't know this wasn't good for me, what I was doing. But when you feel so happy and you have literally women crawling in and out of your bedroom window at the age 14 to 16, it's pretty fucking great. It is. And they even knew about each other. That's the crazy thing, One would say, oh, I have a date with Todd tonight at 9, 10. Oh, yeah, I'm supposed to go to my house at 11. And then one would say, oh, yeah, that's when I leave. And they wouldn't fight over me. It's all good, And hey, whatever. I was, if that's the kind of person I was, and I'm very honest. Ask my wife. I'm so honest, it gets me in trouble. So I would tell these girls, yeah, once you leave, I have another one coming. I'm just that way, really forward. Oh, okay. Well, can I call you tomorrow? All smiling. I'm like, what the fuck? Cool.
You had a fan base.
Yeah, if you want to call it.
You even had some of my family was.
Yeah, some of your family members wasn't involved in some of that, but yeah, just makes me laugh that you say that. You know your family watches my videos, so.
I know.
Okay.
My cousin knows who she is. I love
But
her.
I had so everything was going good, but I was following these Bibles, and so it wasn't like I sold my soul to the devil. It was more like maybe a friendship. I don't know how to explain it. The reason, and I'm going to tell you after I tell you this whole story. And once again, I'm procrastinating because it's getting bad now. It's going to get real bad. But I will tell you, what after what happened, my life after that. But anyways, so things were going great. Things were fine, But then weird shit started happening in my house, and I mean weird shit. And for example, and I said, I promise on my mom's grave right here, man, I love her to death. And I know that's wrong, maybe even saying that, but what I'm telling you is 100% true. So weird stuff started happening. For example, my mom would go get groceries, hamburger meat, steak, whatever, things like that, eggs. And so, for what happened one morning, my mom bought some eggs, from, I don't know, like Kmart. I don't know, we didn't have Walmart back then, did we? No, Safeway, probably Safeway or Thriftway, huh? Safeway and Thriftway, and,
it wasn't Safeway first, so it was, IGA or something.
Oh, IGA, yeah, that's from my family, the Ramirez family, my cousin. I know he's watching, he's gonna be watching. What's up, cuz? But yeah, anyways, this way before Walmart days. But she bought some eggs, and it was on the weekend. I remember this, actually. And I remember it was hot. But she getting ready to cook breakfast, she opened one egg, and there was blood in there, a bunch of blood. Sometimes that happens. I don't know if it's common. I'm not a farmer in that way. But I know when you open a dozen eggs, and they're all full of blood, that doesn't happen. This does not happen. I do know once in a while you might get one that has a little blood, but a whole dozen eggs. My mom had a full pan of fucking blood, and she was pissed off. Fucking wherever she got the groceries, those son of a bitches. I don't know what they're doing. She was, whatever she said. It was funny though. She was mad, and so what, But then after that, the meat. Like, she would buy fresh meat, and my mom was really picky, and I mean very picky. She'd keep them in Ziploc bags, put dates on them. She would buy fresh meat, and through another family member that had his own meat market at the time, the Orozco family. They might be watching too. But they used to buy, like, fresh meats and stuff, and instantly, they go walk in the door, and they would get sour, turn green, and I'm saying instantly. Right through the fucking door to go put it away. They look it, and they would be rotten with mold on it. And see, but this is the thing, when they bought it, of course, you look at your shit, right? So this started happening in our house quite a bit, where it was affecting my family. I mean, like, as far as financially, my mom was throwing food away like crazy. I do remember a lot of that time we ate out a lot, but so things like that started happening, and I do want you all to know that is a sign of something bad gonna happen.
Take a deep breath.
When things like that start happening in your house, all of you guys, and I hope you're really listening to me. Yes, sometimes your food just gets wrong, but like the way I told you, it's the way I told you is extreme, and that's what started happening. So if you guys ever see that happening in your life, in your house, seek God right away. Seek a church, because that means evil's on its way. And boy, that motherfucker showed up quick.
Break.
Give me a second, guys, because this is. I'm shaking like a DI. Sorry, I gotta take my medicine.
This is very hard on him, guys, to talk about it, but this is also very helpful to him. So I ask again, only positive vibes in the comments, please, for him and for us. If you want to ask questions, you're more than welcome to.
Absolutely.
And he'll gladly explain or tell you, but only positive vibes. If you got something bad to say, please keep it to yourself or message me on my messenger on Facebook.
Can I see that phone, please? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Maybe I didn't mean to.
And talk to me about it, okay? And not him. Because he right now cannot handle it, but he's trying to get better with everything that's happened with him. So, and just recently with things that have happened, so we're trying to let you get to know him better.
Okay. Sorry about that little break, guys. So if you see smoke, it's our smudge. It's better we burn this because me talking about it
See you guys.
is very dangerous. And if my wife reminds me to bring this up, I will. Why is it dangerous? And it's because who I am. And if my wife reminds me to talk about it, I will. Otherwise, I probably forget. So things like that started happening, and then it got where it wasn't just affecting our food, it was affecting my father. Very badly. He would come home from work, and the place he worked at, it was a bus factory, and they made buses basically. And he had a great job. He made great money. He was a certified welder, and I think even now they make a lot of money. But he would come home and he would be so different. And I mean really different, where he would not talk to us at all. Nobody. If you did get anything out of him, it wasn't good. And I seen this happening. And then I started realizing it was affecting I think it was affecting my mother as well. But I think, no, I know this. My mom has a deep love for God. And I know that has a lot to do with what I'm saying too. Am I right, babe? Your faith, how much faith you have in God. That has a lot to do with things like this, right?
Right.
And so I think it was affecting my mother. I'm not too sure, but I think because of her strong faith, it didn't affect her as bad as it did my father.
It can attack you if you have it can, but not as bad if you have a really strong faith in God.
Yeah.
It will try to break you down and try to break that bond. I've seen it lots of times, and I'll be honest, we have a room in our house right now that we live in that's got something really bad in there, and it made me extremely sick the other day when I was back there.
Yeah.
To the point where it even drained our REM pod and everything, And so I can tell you my faith in God is really strong, but that tried to break.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You have it says certificate of ministry, and it has your name on there with the golden seal.
If you guys want to see me smack him like a redheaded stepchild, please tell me, because I will.
I'm not Daryl. Okay, but anyways, guys,
He's
I'm
not
sorry.
my stepchild either.
So yeah, they started affecting my father, and things were strangely happening. We would hear sounds. We would smell like rotten meat. Actually, it smelled like a dead animal. Like for example, let's say you find an animal in the middle of July on the hot pavement road. That smell, you know what I mean? It's just a horrible smell, and we'd smell that all the time. And I gotta tell you guys, my mom was super clean, or it was crazy. Yeah, I mean, she was really clean. She always had candles going, you know. Ask my wife, she knows, and very picky. Everything had to be its way. You know, I never was raised that way. I never grew up that way. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Your mom actually reminds me of my Aunt Lee.
Yeah. But I'm the same way as my mom. I'm very picky with everything. I always
My
have
Aunt
been.
Lee was like that.
Yeah.
Very picky, and I love her. God
So,
rest her soul.
we we'd smell this odor, you know, and sometimes it would be in the day, sometimes it would be in the middle of the night where my dad would get up, we all get up, hey, what's that smell, you know, somebody fart, what, you know, something, and it happened for a few months, and then one day something bad really happened, not as bad as what I'm going to tell you, but what ended up happening is one night, I don't even think I told you about this, but what happened was, I was asleep in my room, and my dad always came to check up on us, you know, before he went to bed, you know. It's normal, natural, you know, make sure we're all good. And it's hard to explain our house at the time. Because basically here's the kitchen, okay, in the very back, and then you open another door, okay, and you walk through this big ass room, and we didn't have nothing in there but our bikes. Okay, well, in that big ass room is a way out to the outside, okay, but then on the side was my bedroom where I had my own door. So basically all I had to do was go out my door, out the back door, okay. Well, when my father opened up the first door, this is what he told me, and I, you know, of course I didn't witness it myself, but this is what he told me, that he seen something come through a person. He said a big person came through my door. My door was shut, okay, walked through my door like, okay, and my dad couldn't see any features, just a big, dark, tall shadow person, and it ran, and it went out of my door, and right past my dad, and then it went to the outside, the other door, to the backyard. So what did my dad do? He right away got his gun, ran out there. Nobody was out there, nobody. And we had it was taller than an 8-foot fence. Maybe it wasn't, but it was pretty tall back then. And so whoever this was would have had to climb the fence to get out, because we had everything, you know, our backyard, and then there was the alley, so we had padlocks, you know, on the, you know, so people won't come in. And there would be no way this guy could have got out that quick, or whatever it was. So my dad called, came in, and after he went looking for this thing, and he woke me up, and he said, "Who in the fuck was in your room?" And then I said, "What are you talking about?" And then he turned the light on, and he realized that it was so cold in my room, there was actually like little icicles forming on my wall, and I was freezing. It was so cold in there, and I mean like freezer cold. My dad, I remember, was shaking. He was like, "What the fuck? What's going on?" And he got scared, and right away he knew something was wrong. He looked at me and he said, "What are you doing? What did you bring into our house?" And this is when I told him what I've been doing, practicing Satanism, actually doing spells and stuff, and he got really upset, crying. My mom did too. You know, she found out the next day. And of course, the first thing they told me, you need to get all of that shit out of your room now. Those posters, everything that you have that we think it's Satan, out of your room. I said, okay. That's not what happened. I got a lock for my room and I changed it myself. That wasn't good. It didn't help. They busted down the door either way. So, but that's when they found out. My family at the time, when my dad found out about what I was studying, what this book that I found, they were very scared and worried for me, all the way to where they wanted me to get counseling, all this stuff, you know. But they didn't understand how extreme things were going to be. And it got really extreme, man. I hope you guys are ready for this. I don't know why I remember the day, but I do. It was on a Tuesday. It was on a school night. And it was cold outside. So you gotta kind of judge that from there. I can't tell you exact month, but I remember it was cold outside. Well, we were all sleeping, and before I start this, I want you to understand, my father, yeah, he drank, yeah, you know, but it's on the weekdays, my father wouldn't do that. If he did, maybe one beer. He just didn't do that, you know. On weekends, that's a whole different story, right? But so what ended up happening is he, in the middle of the night, I don't know. I do know what time it was, actually, because I remember, and this is sad that I remember this. I remember this because I remember when they were given the report to the police, they asked a family member, what time did this start? What time did you get the phone call? They said about 5-10 minutes after 3 a.m. Which I don't know if you guys know anything about that, but it's mocking of the Christ, man. It's the witching hour, you know. But anyways, we were all sleeping, and me personally, and my brother, we slept in that same room, and on purpose. I don't know, we were that close. We could have had our own rooms, but that's just what we were. I don't know why. But I heard something like growling, and I started smelling like death again, like rotten corpse. And we started hearing things slamming around, and my brother finally got up, and we were both sitting up in bed. And what's going on? You know, because we had a scary life. It's a whole different story, but I won't go into that. We had a dangerous life. And so we both got up, you know, out of bed, and we're just sitting there. And then my mom comes into our room, and she goes, "Boys, what are you doing?" And she said, "What's that smell?" We're like, "I don't know." And she goes, "Where's your father?" We're like, "I don't know." And she goes, "Is that him making that noise?" And it was. So we just walked down the hall into the kitchen. Because you go through the kitchen first, and then the living room, and there's other bedrooms. We walked in the kitchen, and my father was there. No, it wasn't my father. It wasn't my dad. It was something I'd never seen in my life. it looked like my father. But it wasn't. So, my mom was like, hey, what are you doing? What the fuck? You're waking up the kid, shit like that. He didn't say nothing, was just growling. Like, terror. I can remember it as plain as day, and it's been over 4 decades, man. 40 years, I think, around there. But he wasn't listening to nobody, and he had this sweat just coming off of him, man. His body was red. Like, I'm not trying to be racial or nothing, but when somebody that's really white complected and they get a sunburn, it turns red. Not like me, I get a copper pretty color, I look pretty. But you know what I'm talking about. But my dad had this bad red burn color on him. And he smelled like he was dead. Like dead animal. Maybe a dead human. It was bad. Well, he started breaking shit, throwing shit around, throwing shit around. I remember, my dad is shorter than I am. Okay, I'm 5'5", and I remember this too like it was yesterday. We had a table, a normal sized table about that height right there. I don't know, about like this. My dad, I never understood how he did this though. Without bending his knees, he jumped on the table, a wooden table. That's humanly impossible. How can you jump without bending your knees? It happened. And he was on all fours, just growling. Now, when all this was happening, he had his eyes closed. So of course, at the time, I thought, I don't know about my brother, sister. My sister was there as well. She had her own room, and I know she just strode up there, so I'm not exactly sure if she just heard us. She probably did. Jesus Christ, man, this is terrible. So, I was thinking maybe he's just sleepwalking. I don't know. Things like that. Then I started thinking, because when we were in school, we learned about drugs, We had to, actually. I had to. And I thought, oh, no, maybe somebody slipped my dad somewhere, something like that, because it got bad. He was breaking everything. Everything. I remember we had they used to call them console TVs. They're made out of wood. They sit on the floor. Maybe you guys that are around my age know what I'm talking about. They sit on the floor and they're pretty big.
Yeah.
And they take these big ass tubes and shit. They're extremely heavy. I'd say between 3 to 5 people it takes to bring you one in the house. And I'm not exaggerating. You guys can ask your mom and dad if you're not of that age to remember those console TVs, but they're very heavy.
Some had a remote, some didn't.
Yeah, some did. Well, we had that. Okay. This TV, I don't know. How much do you think they weigh? 700 pounds, maybe? 8?
Yeah, somewhere.
Maybe I'm exaggerating, but they're heavy. It takes at least 3 to 5 men to lift them.
I would say anywhere between 500
Well,
and 7.
my dad jumped off the table. He was running around just busting shit. My mom was yelling at him. We were crying and trying to figure out what the hell this smell was, and it was bad. But he grabbed that TV. And my dad's about my size. Well, I lost a lot of weight, and he's lost a lot of weight. But, he's not humongously big. But he picked up that TV by himself, and he threw it against the wall. It long ways up because they're like this, right? So he picked it up like this, picked up a console TV, held it above his head, and just threw it. Boom. I remember that. That's physically impossible for someone for someone that size, you know. Not unless they're maybe on some kind of heavy drugs, you know. I know like sometimes people's adrenaline gets up there, but he picked it up and threw it. And that wasn't the only things, you know. He was just trashing the place. Well, I don't know who did it, who called, or how they showed up, but a couple of my aunts showed up, and I assume it was my mom, I don't know, that called them. But one of my aunts, and I miss her to death. God, I love her to death. She's never judged me, never talked bad about me, and my aunt, this is the honest to God truth, this is no lie. She passed away, of course, now. But this, out of all my years, I never seen her with a man. She's never had any children. Basically, to make it simple, one day, because she was a barber. She cut my hair. I forget what he called it. But one day, I asked her. I says, "Auntie, how come you don't have a husband?" And she said, "I do have a husband." And I'm like, "You do?" And she said, "Yes." And she goes, "Jesus is my husband." So that tells you, you know, how religious she was. But anyways, they came into the house, and they see my father, what he was doing, destroying everything. And we were like in the corner, all back like this, you know, me and my brother, my sister, and my mom. I can't speak for all of us because that's just not right. But I'm pretty sure they were all scared to fuck like I was. It got to where I thought we were gonna die. I don't know why. So my aunts come and they right away started talking in a different language. I don't know too much about this, okay? So I couldn't tell you too much about it, but I know that it's called tongues. Maybe my wife can tell you more about it, but it's something, I guess it's a spiritual gift to even talk that language. I don't know, but it's something special, I guess.
Speaking in tongues is like, it's the Holy Spirit, like coming into you or pouring His blessings on you, and He allows you to start speaking in a different language. It's your own little prayer to God, your own language with God. And we all speak differently when we speak in tongues. Some people it may sound like blubberish, and some people may have words, some people may not. But it's our own little language that the Holy Spirit gives us to speak to God in.
So they started reading out of the Bible and speaking tongues. And I didn't know this until a few years after what actually the language was called, because, you know, I just never asked, but that's what they were doing. I don't want to say they, because I remember only two of my aunts actually doing it. And they were actually related, you know, by blood. Well, when they started doing this, it was getting even worse. And what I mean by that is my dad was freaking out even worse, screaming, yelling, punching the walls. I mean, out of fucking control. It just got really, really bad. And then I remember they were like almost, they were like yelling at him, but through prayer. It's hard to explain. I don't know how to say it the right way. And then my aunt, one of my aunts, she got holy water. Well, this holy water, it was like fucking acid to my dad, to his skin, to his whole body. It was like fucking sulfuric acid, and I know what that feels like, poured on your skin, because it happened to me before. it hurts really bad. But this was holy water and he was blistering. And then I remember my aunt telling us, what have we been doing? Because they know that she knew that someone bringing something very evil into the house. And that was in my dad now. The person that bring that in the house was me. So he was screaming and yelling, and I remember my mom told my aunts to quit throwing it on him because that's her husband, you know what I mean? It was burning him bad. And by this time, you know, he had his eyes open. It wasn't him. All you see it looked like black marbles in his eyes, that's it. And at one time I think they were even red. But while all this was going on, all this yelling and growling and chanting, I was scared out of my ass and I knew everything was my fucking fault, man. All of it was my fault.
Take a deep breath. Calm down.
Because I bring that fucking book that I found in a stupid fucking library home.
Calm down, okay? Take a deep breath. Take a little bit of a break here. No, take just one.
There's no more in there. So everybody, you know, there was all this commotion going on, you know. My aunt's yelling at my dad in their tongue language, reading out of the Bible, all this stuff, and the cops are what? I don't know if my aunts called them, my mom, I don't know about that either. And back then, we didn't have cell phones, so, but I don't know who called, I don't know. But some cops, police officers showed up. One of them, whoa, you okay?
Yeah.
One of them happened to be relation. They come in and they want to know what's going on. And by this time, my dad was out of control. My aunts still wouldn't stop what they were doing at all. They kept going and going. Well, it got where so bad where they had to put handcuffs handcuff my dad because he was throwing them around. And at the time, there was a police officer, I'm not going to say his name, but he was a big man, very big, 400 pounds maybe. Very light, the very least 300. My dad picked his ass up and threw him on the cop car, just throwing him all over. And not just him, other officers as well. And my dad's a little guy. And they're asking, hey, what the fuck is going on with Richard? Because they all know my father, you know. What, is he on drugs? Why is he so strong? And they finally got him under control. And you guys, they didn't have tasers. I don't even know if they had mace then. I don't think so. Did they have mace then? I don't think so. So all they had was their gun. No, I don't think they had mace. I'm gonna look that up. Well, anyways, it took about 8 of them to get my dad down, and they did, and they handcuffed him. And when they handcuffed him, they were getting ready to put him in the car. And I remember this because I was standing outside the front door, and you had a little walkway, and then, you know, it was a yard, and there was a fence, and then there was a gate, and I was maybe 20 feet at the most away from what was going on, maybe a little further. But I seen it all. We all seen it. Well, before they put my dad in the car, I don't know exactly how he did it, but he broke the handcuffs behind his back, and it just. Like it was a fucking piece of string, man. Just. Then he took off running. No shoes. No socks. Just his underwear. Ran. So the police officers jumped in their car and they took off after him. Well, I didn't see this part, but I was told by the police officers, and I remember them telling my mom. And I know this is gonna freak you out, and I know that these police officers wouldn't lie to me because one of them was a family member. Well, my dad ran all the way to a cemetery. I'm not gonna tell you which one. It isn't Lamar, and you guys know there's two here. And he ran all the way there, which is pretty far from where we lived at the time. And the reason why he ran that way was because his grandpa/dad was there. He passed away. But that's not the freaky part, though. The freaky part is it was closed. And the gates, I don't know, 10, 15 feet. They changed them since then, I know that. But back then, they had really big, tall gates, 15 feet, I don't know, pretty tall. Well, this is from, I think he was a captain at the time in the police department. He told my mom, my dad jumped it. That ain't my fucking father, man. So, it's like you telling me, my father that's 5'5" jumped a fucking fence that's almost 20 feet high? The gates at the cemetery? He said, we've seen it with our own eyes. They said something is not right with your father. They said no drugs could have somebody had this much power. What he's doing. You know, by this time I knew what was wrong. I did. I knew exactly why this happened. So they find my dad naked in the cemetery at his grandfather's/dad's grave. And the reason why I say slash is because my dad's grandfather raised him. He was there. I don't know what he was doing there. I don't know if he was crying or what. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I do know what ended up happening is that somehow, I guess the police officers got him to calm down or something, I guess. And they got him in the police car, I guess. You know, I wasn't there when this all was going on. But they got him. They put him in the cell there in the jail. Well, by the time I think it's about 7 or 8 in the morning come around, we get a phone call. It was my dad. I was so scared, man. I was terrified of him, but I knew in my heart it wasn't him, you know? So, he calls us, crying, scared out of his mind. Sorry guys, this is hard, man. I need a new battery. See that?
Yeah.
That's my real battery. He called crying, scared. He had no fucking idea why he woke up in jail. No clue. Not a fucking clue how he got there. He was crying, saying, I have bruises all over me. What the hell happened? I was home in bed. What the fuck am I doing in jail? Little did he know it was all my fault, though. Every bit of it, man, 100%. Well, because of his actions, I guess you want to say, I don't know how to put it. They told the police officers told us that they're going to take him to Pueblo, and this, we had no choice. This was not. I don't know if he was in trouble or not. My father with the police officers or with the law. I don't know, but I know they did. If I remember right, he had to go do what they said. So he was gone. He was gone for maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And he come back home. And you know what the doctors told him? Nothing. There was absolutely nothing wrong with him. Mentally. At all. He wasn't crazy. He wasn't psychotic. I think we're all psychotic in a certain way, but you guys know what I mean. Nothing was wrong with my father. So how did he possess this fucking strength? I'll tell you how. When I bring in my life when I bring in my life to make me fucking happy, got into my dad and tried to kill him.
I need to take a deep breath, okay? Look right here. Look right here. Okay? Take a deep breath. Now before he goes any further with you, I want to tell you guys something. A family member of his
Give me a minute. I gotta go pee. You can go ahead and keep talking. Okay.
a family member of his told me everything he just told you about his dad having something in him and all that. Everything he just told you, a family member told me, was true. And also, his dad used to always ask me, because we would smudge, he'd always ask me, or get on to Todd about, being into the satanic stuff, because he thought smudging was bad. Until I explained it to him, and then it was okay. But he always said, don't let him get back into that satanic stuff. That's all he would tell me. But this other family member told me straight out, which I'm gonna be honest, was his sister. She told me in Vegas everything word for word what Todd just told you about how they smelled rotten meat or something rotting, flesh rotting, something. His dad jumping a fence, yelling, screaming, growling, all of it. So he's not lying to you.
No, not by far. And I heard my wife telling you guys that my own family has spoke to my wife about this. My father, not like how I'm talking to you guys, but I do. Fuck it, I'll tell you straight out. My sister in Las Vegas told my wife straight out what happened.
Yep.
And so this is why my wife believes me. Now, if I was the only one to tell her this, I would blame her for not believing me, but my sister and my dad's always on her ass making sure I'm not doing anything. Like not ever again.
Which I make sure, which he believes in God, and I'm going to be honest with you, God has changed him a lot from what he used to be. And I know a lot of people still think that he drinks. He hasn't
I
drank
do, quite a bit.
soda, Dr. Pepper,
Dr.
Root beer,
Pepper, Pepsi, and Mountain Dew. I got a drinking
and root
problem.
beer.
And I'm not gonna lie, I need to slow down on my soda. Fuck. I'm not lying.
If you ever wanna sit down and have a drink with us, we're sodaholics, okay, guys?
You can bring a joint or some edibles or something. That'd be alright. But okay. Well, let's get back to the story. True story. True fucking story.
And just so you know, I believed you even before your sister confirmed it.
I know, baby.
Okay,
Yeah.
just so, because I can tell in your eyes.
No.
And anybody who looks at you can tell in your eyes that you're telling the truth. I would hope anyways that people would have the discernment to know that.
So, after all this happened, you know, it took a while for my father to get home. You know, he was gone for, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, I'm not too sure. He was okay, he was bruised up, of course. They explained to him what he did. He couldn't believe it, obviously. I wouldn't have believed it either if I didn't see it from my own eyes. But it really happened, and so after all this happened, one of my aunts came over, the one that I was mentioning to you that's never been married. She says she's married to Jesus. God, I miss her so much. But anyway, she came over and she told me, you need to show me everything you got that has to do with Satanism, you know. She didn't use that exact words, but basically, you know. And I was afraid for her to hold anything of my stuff because I seen what happened to my father. And my father didn't hold anything; he just came into my room. So my aunt comes over with their weapons. And what I mean by weapons is the Holy Bible. That's the strongest weapon in the world, man.
It sure is.
So my dad and my mom were standing there too, and I was nervous that I didn't want them to go in my room because by now I knew there was something bad going on, and I caused it. I realized I fucked up bad. So I told my aunt, she came into my room and all of her hair and her arms stood up, her neck, she was shivering. And right there when I seen that, I thought she was just gonna walk away. Not my aunt. Hell no. You know that. She would never walk away. Something like this. And she didn't. She didn't.
She was an awesome lady.
Scary
Still
as
is an
hell,
awesome-
man. This is scary as hell. And wow. She had God with her. So she came in my room and she told me I needed to start ripping down all my posters, my upside down crosses, and she said, you need to start yelling at the devil. And I did. I took everything off the walls. I was so pissed off for what he did to my father. I still am. So she tells me, is that it? Is that everything? I told her yes. But that wasn't the truth. That wasn't true. And she knew it. I don't know how, but she knew it. I had the Bible still underneath my bed. She bent down to grab it, and I said, no. I said, please, Auntie, don't grab it. I said, it's dangerous. She said, scream. And she told me, Satan doesn't kill. Satan doesn't scare me. Not when I have God right here. Something like that. the book, the Bible, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And she ran out the door. I never seen the book again. I've been asked many times, what happened to it. I've asked her a couple of times, through my life, what happened to it. And basically all she would tell me is that she put it where it belongs. I don't know what that means. I do hope nobody ever finds wherever she put it. I have no clue where it's at.
Where it belongs is buried in the ground down there with Satan.
Well, absolutely.
And that's probably where it's at. It's buried
I
somewhere.
I don't know what she did with it. Now, I just want all of you guys to know, I already know what's going to happen, For one thing is because I'm very honest and I have a big mouth. And I don't care who likes me or who doesn't. That's just the way I am. I'm sorry.
But he is very respectful, though, to people, and he's very humble.
Right. Very respectful. But I do know because of what I say publicly and what I do publicly in this shitty town that I am from, which...
It's not the town's fault. It's some of the people in.
Okay. Well, but anyways, I forgot what I was saying.
Talking about the things that you do.
Oh, okay, yes. I do know because I've mentioned to you guys, is the battery fine on the camera, by the way?
We got one bar left.
Fuck. That I'm going to get some heat because I mentioned the library, for example. And a lot of you know which library I'm talking about. And so I feel that your so-called government people in this county will probably give me shit for it. But you know what I gotta say to them? Well, what I gotta say to them ain't nothing good.
It's not the library's fault, though.
No.
Because they didn't bring that book in, and so the government can't say nothing.
But they're going to because of who I am.
I know.
But I want you guys to understand the library, they had nothing to do with this. It's just because that fucking book was in there doesn't mean that they put it in there. And to be honest, that book came from a whole different dimension, in my opinion. I really believe that.
But we're not here to take and cut down any government officials or nothing.
And I encourage, especially the school kids, get off the computer and shit and go get you a book at the library, man. Like we used to do it, yeah.
A good book, not a bad book.
Yeah, of course, So, but that, the library is a good, positive thing. Okay. It was just unfortunate what happened to me it just happened. But now because of all this, I have lost my whole family. Just recently, because I asked for prayers for my father, and when a family member told him something else, now my father will not talk to me. It's already been 3 weeks, 2 weeks. And I believe it's all because of this, what I've done in the past. But I hope someday they'll forgive me,
Well, hopefully this right here will help them to heal. And you to heal. And we will pray that your family will grow up, that the family will come back together as a family and stand strong as a family.
But I no longer do this shit anymore. I guess I study Wicca quite a bit, and it's not bad. I don't care who says it's bad. If you don't like Wicca, how should I put it? We're like tree huggers. We like peace. We like the nature,
To be honest,
nothing bad.
What Wiccan is, and I think I've explained this before too, but just for those that maybe haven't followed our channel before, what Wiccan is, God made the earth. He spent 7 days making the earth. He made the ground, the water, the sky, all of that. So he gave us the soil. He gave us the soil to plant the trees in. He gave us the water to water the trees. The trees give us air. God gave us all that. And they also provide a way for us to make fire to keep us warm. So if you think about it, you're thinking God. You're not worshiping any other God out there. You're worshiping God and thanking Him.
So if you, like my wife said, if you guys have any questions, just message us or whatever. And I encourage all of you to please understand that the devil's out there, man.
He is, and he's very strong.
And it doesn't matter who you are or what you believe in.
Nope.
But he can trick you and catch you up just like that, just like me. Just like me.
And he'll feed you a vine.
Yeah, exactly. And what sucks about it is now I have to, because I believe what I did in my past, I lost my family. And you know, it's okay. It's alright. I'm okay with that. I think.
But see, God forgave you a long time ago. He forgave you. Okay? So now it's your time to forgive yourself for the things that you've done wrong. And eventually everybody else will forgive you. But you've got to give them the time to forgive you as well.
This is why I'm doing this as well, because I think it's going to help. I know it's going to help me. But I want you guys to know I never told nobody this story, this true story. The only one that knows is my wife, my sister, my brother, my aunts, and the cops that were involved.
Your mom and dad.
And my mom and dad. And now you. Stay away from that shit, man. Please, for the love of God, stay away from that shit. Because they'll eat you alive. Thank you for joining us again. And God bless.
Always stay humble, guys.
And you'll see us next in another film.
Yes. We're going to start getting out there and making more content for you guys. But please take this to heart, what he just told you. So God bless, and we love you all.
Thank you.
Mwah.